I
Mm.
thought that it would be very, very timely to bring someone on that could talk about life insurance and practical things like that. Something that we don't often talk about during the show. But we have Angela Roberts. How you doing?
Hey, Diamond. I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. So you're going to talk with us about something that as we talked about off camera, a lot of people don't want to talk about. A lot of people don't like to talk about. And
Mm-mm.
yeah, quite honestly, it's not something that I'm like super comfortable talking about all the time either. It's not like it's not like we're talking about the Ravens or something. Like this is this is a serious matter, um, because we're talking about a time when we are not here, right? We're talking about a time we're no
Correct.
longer here. But I guess first introduce yourself and all that good stuff.
Okay. First of all, thank you for having me on the show. I'm super grateful for this opportunity and I really appreciate you. My name is Angela Roberts. I am born and raised from Baltimore, Maryland. Quick about me, I was in the medical industry up until the end of December, decided to leave that and get into life insurance. Why do you ask? I'll get into that in this next half hour. But life insurance is very important to me. I'm affiliated with an amazing company called Family First Life, and they have allowed me to be an independent broker with them. I am contracted with almost every A plus company out there. So I can go and look for several different policies to fit people's needs. So that makes it easy for me to be like your one-stop stop. Um, so it's something I'm very passionate about because I'm able to give back to the community and educate the community on something they don't educate us with. I mean, think about it. You are required to get not life insurance, health insurance. In order to
Right,
drive a car, you have to have car insurance, but
right.
they never require you to get life insurance. Why is that?
I'm sure it's a reason. I'm sure it's a reason. I mean, so when you talk about life insurance, of course, it makes a lot of people uncomfortable. But
Yeah.
we 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 do a lot of stories where someone has passed away and they may have a GoFundMe page, or there's some type of a collection that is happening with regards to the service or something like that. Why does that happen? I mean, do you? I'm asking like you're the GoFundMe. I mean, why does something like that happen? How does that happen?
So you think about it like this: everybody plans for life. You plan for birth. You're excited about it. You make sure you're prepared, as prepared as you can be to bring a child into this world. But you never think about death. Nobody wants to think about death. Nobody wants to think about dying. But it's the inevitable. It's a part of life. And a lot of times people get the misconception you shouldn't think about life insurance until you're going to die, is when you're older. But the fact is, you can die at any time. And they get these GoFundMe's, which it just bothers me when I see it, because the big thing is you got to wait for somebody to donate.
Right,
And that body isn't going to wait. So you still got to put money out because you still have to embalm them. They can't just sit around and decay. And then you got to wait for like people to fund into GoFundMe. And GoFundMe, I'm gonna give you some background on GoFundMe. And
okay,
no disrespect for them. It's great. You can sit there, you can get donations, but GoFundMe charges you 2.9% of every donation that went in there. So you're getting charged. You pay GoFundMe. Now, you don't necessarily get taxed, but the IRS can find different types of ways of that. If you have a donation over 20,000 or over 200 people that have donated, you have to fill out a 1099-K. Um,
right.
so like you don't want to take that
Yeah, they
chance.
don't get a couple of dollars off that.
Right. The IRS could, depending upon how it was written, how it was donated, they could come for their money. And why would you want to do that when, guess what? Life insurance is tax free. You never, ever pay taxes on life insurance. Another great thing about life insurance, when you're working with a funeral home and they know you have a policy, they will continue to do their work because they know you got a policy. They know they're going to get paid. And with life insurance, it typically like does take 10 to 30 days. If you have an agent like myself, like I am dedicated to, I'm not just going to write you up a policy and say, oh, see you later, I'm out of here. No, I'm with you throughout that whole entire thing. God forbid the day you die, your family, I want them to call me, and I'm going to contact the life insurance company I put you through and expedite getting that money to you as quick as possible and take that stress off of you. Nobody wants to, it's bad enough when you have somebody that dies. I'm no stranger to death, unfortunately.
Right.
And I've lost my dad. My dad died 5 years ago, and that was very hard. And on top of everything else, trust me, you don't want to deal with the financial burden too. You don't want to leave that to your family. People always talk about one of my biggest arguments. I'm not going to be here. I don't care. That's such a selfish comment.
Yeah, I've heard people say that,
That
and
is
what?
so selfish.
Yeah, yeah, it's that. I mean, it's one way of looking at it. What what got you into this line of work? I mean, I noticed that you mentioned that you lost your father, and so I haven't had a loss of that, that major, aside from my sister and
Yeah.
my grandmother. But is the loss of your father something that gave you an example of what to look at as far as the life insurance?
So when I'm sitting here telling you, you don't want to deal with the financial burden on top of that, it's because I did, and I still do. Love my father, but my father, like a lot of people, misconceptions. I remember him being in hospice and telling my mom, Debbie, trust me, when I die, you'll be well taken care of. Everything's good. It's downstairs in the box. And of course, she's not going to go check. And by that time, it's too late anyway. But, lo and behold, he dies, and he worked for a company for 30 plus years. And when he retired, guess what? That policy from work retired with him. So he had a policy to get him cremated, but my mother was still left with the mortgage, still left with other things that she's had to deal with in the last 5 years. Us as a family have had to deal with, and that shouldn't have taken place. Like, a lot of people think, oh, I got life insurance through my job, I'm good. No, it's like a company car. When you leave, you got to turn that in, and it sucks. But
Yeah.
a lot of people don't realize that. So that was one of the big things. Like, when it came down to me deciding to change careers, I wanted to get into a career where I could do what I was doing in the hospital. Like, I love taking care of my patients. And now I get to take care of my clients. I get to help them prepare for a hard situation and be there and be compassionate and walk them through it, educate them, and help them out and make sure that they don't ever have to go through what I went through with my dad.
So is there a policy that, and I guess you don't have to name the policy per se, but I mean, is there a policy that could have made what you and your mom experienced with the passing of your father easier?
Oh my God. Yeah. Any whole life policy, or even if he had a term policy, but he was 68. So you have a whole life policy that's with you for the rest of your life, which he did. He had a small one. It was a small one. it was $10,000. That's nothing. Like, let me tell you, the average to get cremated, just to get cremated, no type of service, that's like 3 to 5. Cremated with the
Three
service
to
is
five
like,
thousand.
yeah, three to five
Okay.
thousand. Cremated with the service is like 5 to 7,000. You want to start burying in a coffin and going all out, you can spend onwards of up to $20,000, and that's talking now. So you want to think about how prices are going to go up in the future, because everything goes up.
Everything goes up.
Uh,
Yeah,
but you
definitely.
want to you want to have something in place to take that off. There's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to life insurance, big time. Like, a lot of times people either think they won't get approved, or they can't
Right.
afford it, or they don't need it now because they're young. When the truth is, the younger you are, the healthier you are, the better policy that you can get in place for you. And life insurance just isn't a death. Like, life insurance is meant to be used while being alive. There are different riders, like a living benefit rider, meaning if you become sick, terminally ill, critically ill, chronically ill, you can take up to 80% off and live off of it.
Well,
There's other,
what if
yeah,
someone is sick right now, right?
okay.
Because I think when some people say that they can't afford it or they wouldn't get approved, they feel like maybe they have an ailment
Right.
and maybe y'all would, not approve them based on their physical condition at the moment. Like, is that a thing?
That is a thing. But like I said in the beginning, I work with several different companies. So I am able to get pretty much anybody a policy. It might not be the fancy policies that you see about on TikTok and
Right.
everything, but
Can't
if
get a
you have,
Cadillac.
yeah, right, if you have a serious condition, like cancer or kidney disease or even AIDS, I can get you a policy, and you
Wow.
can get, you can get a decent amount that will take care of your burial and possibly leave anything behind. Like, you can get approved. Um, and if you ever gotten denied before, I'm a different type of agent where, well, so let me rewind here. I don't do health exams. I don't do well, I can do a fully underwritten policy, but I usually do ones that are not. They're done off of your medical index bureau, meaning they take your social security number and they use that off of anything you've been diagnosed or any
Mm,
medications that you're taking. So, say for instance something comes back and you got denied from there, a lot of people will walk away from that, won't look into that. No, I'm going to help you through that step where, let's pull your report, let's see what you got denied, because guess what, Diamond, have you ever had to go in and get like a CT scan or an MRI?
I have not.
Okay, well, that didn't help there, but okay, so say you did.
But I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people that have. I know a lot of people that
so
have.
so a lot of times, in order to get that approved from your health insurance, you have to put in certain diagnosis codes, and those
Okay.
codes go in. But a lot of times the doctors don't come back and say, hey, well, this patient doesn't have, I'll just throw lupus out there, or they don't have, a heart condition, but we
Right.
needed to get this. So what you do is, if that's the case and you've never been diagnosed that, and that, all we have to do is go back to your doctor, they write a letter, we go to the MIB, we get that off of there, and then guess what, I can get you approved for a good policy. If it's the other end where you are sick and you do have cancer, I can get you approved for a policy there too.
Come on. Casey Steele.
Right, like you've never had a CT or
No,
MRI,
I never had a no, no. Um, okay, so that I understand that, and that part is is something that I can digest, right? So
Okay.
I think that another objection that folks would have would be how much. Like, how much do they have to pay? Is this a sliding scale based on their income? Is this like how much
Mm-mm.
money are we will we be talking about?
Well, I'm not going to sit there and like sell you a policy that's going to hurt your pockets.
Right.
My main concern is, I'm going to look at your age, I'm going to look at your health, and then I'm going to ask you what your budget is and what can you afford. Because believe it or not, like I said, the younger you are, or even in your 50s, it's affordable. And
Mhm.
we can always start off with a certain amount. And then when situations get better with you, we can increase that amount. But it's definitely a sliding scale. It depends on your age, it depends on your health. It depends on if you're a smoker or not, too. And male or female. Believe it or not, males are considered more high risk.
You said males are considered more high risk?
Yes.
All right. So Casey Knox says, can you explain the difference between life and term?
Absolutely. So a typical regular term policy is just that. It's a death benefit. You can get it for 10, 20, 30 years. There are other certain term policies, which I prefer to do, like a CBO, which is a cashback offer, meaning like you get this term policy for 30 years. 30 years down the line, you never use it. You get everything that you paid into it back tax free. So it's like you never paid for life insurance. And that's great too, because that's not just a death benefit. It has the living benefit on there, which she came late to the show. That's if you become sick, chronically ill, critically ill, terminally ill, you can take 80% out, as well as like accidental death riders. So I like a CBO term policy. A life policy is your whole life. So that builds cash value that's with you until your whole life, until you die. So there's no end. Both of these policies that I do are locked in rates. They never go up. They never increase your monthly payments. Some terms do. You got to be really careful. Like my terms that I do with people, I make sure that their term policies don't go up. Like you see these commercials on TV, it sounds too good to be true, it's too good to be true because they're going to increase and they're going to increase rapidly. Yeah. And so
So
that's a different, and then one other, and then you have an IUL, which is my favorite policy. And I can get into that later, but I really love index universal lives, which are, they're great. That's my favorite. So we can touch on that in a little bit.
okay, so you're saying so term is what it says. It is a certain amount of a start and stop time.
Yes.
There is that, and then life is the entire life of the person. So let's
Yes.
let's just say a person is in their 20s when they pass.
Yes.
They have to have had the policy for a certain amount of time before. No.
No. Say I write you a policy today and you die tomorrow, it pays out.
Okay. And then versus, let's say somebody's had the policy, they pass in their, they've had it for 50 years and they're in their 90s, and so that person would get the same payout as the person who was in their 20s.
Yes.
Okay.
Depending on what the policy is. Like if they're in their 90s and it's not a term and it's a whole life and they're still in that policy, absolutely they get that face amount of that policy.
Okay.
Same as that. So say you had we'll put it into numbers for people. Say you had a whole life policy for $25,000 for both people. Say the kid in his 20s, he got it, died a week later, he gets that $25,000. The person who's 90 that's had it for years, they get that $25,000. That's with a whole life policy. When we get into talking about IULs, that's very different because an IUL is something that you can take and you can overpay it and you can watch your money grow exponentially because it's backed off the S&P 500. So they're investing that money. So your cash value builds. But if you're doing an increasing death benefit, you can get your death benefit to increase too. It's all in how the policy is written. That's why there's like not one set policy for everybody. I take my time, I sit down, I talk, I see what you want. That's something that we do. We structure that policy for you. And that allows you to build tax-free retirement money. You see how life insurance is just not for death. It can definitely be for life too. Because you can take loans out on that. You can take loans out on it.
Yeah, I don't think the average person knows that. Yeah, I don't think the average person knows that. So so going back to your scenario with your dad and with your mom and you, how could a policy be structured to make things easier, for the family after the initial burial? Like, so that cost a lot of money, right?
Yeah. I mean, we made it work. What could have been done in the case of my father is, while yes, having a $50,000 policy through your work is great, he should have had a $50,000 policy on his own too. If he would have died during the time that he was working, he would have got 100,000. Great. But the fact that after he died, after he was working and he didn't get that 50,000, that's the difference there. So you want to have a policy on your own, no matter what your job is offering you. That's just a added benefit.
Yeah, no, I understand that. So Casey says that if you take the loan out, do you have to pay it back?
You should. Yes, you would want to pay it back because that's going to take away from your death benefit. So you want to put that money back in there.
Right. Okay.
And it's at it's dependent on when you take it out. It's at it's either between 2% and 4%.
So what city are you in?
I am, well, right now I'm in Edgewater, New Jersey.
Okay.
But I am licensed, and I'm licensed in a lot of states, and that licensing doesn't matter to me. If there's somebody out there that's listening that's in a state that I'm not licensed in, that's not a problem. So I can pretty much work in all 50 states in the United States.
Okay, so that's good to know because we have listeners throughout. So let's say you're in New Jersey. Let's say somebody is in Maryland, or someone's in Georgia, or someone's in Texas. You could still help them.
Yeah, and I'm actually licensed in all of those right now. So
okay,
that kind of works. How funny is that?
All right. How How has this so you were in the healthcare field. How has this differed from the the work that you did there? Is it just as rewarding? Is it uh on a different level? Is it what is that?
Um,
Rewarding for you personally as you helping people.
rewarding for me personally. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of a amicable way to answer this without saying, but no, it's much more rewarding for me. It's personal for me because I get to build relationships. I get to work on my own. I make my own hours. I can devote as much time as I want to one client.
Right.
I can travel freely. I really love what I do. I'm really passionate about what I do because I feel like the world needs to be educated. We are not educated on this. They don't teach us about life insurance. They don't teach us about tax-free money. Why would they?
Well, that is true. They don't. This is not something that comes up. There's not a class or a course that I remember in high school or
No.
college that talked about this. You had to figure this out. And
Yeah.
usually your
Like
parents didn't really know a lot about it either. You know what I mean? So
you will be surprised at how many people that I run into that are in their 50s and 60s and that are not aware of the benefits of life insurance. Um, there's a huge, because I know we're getting down to time. There's a huge one that I do want to touch on, and that's children. Like you can set your children up that they never have to worry about life insurance. Like there's like you could get your child an IUL like I was talking about, or you could get them a whole life policy. And the things that I like about like how I can set up for a whole life policy for a child is that you only pay into it for 10 years. After 10 years, it's paid off. But this child gets a guaranteed insurance eligibility rider. Now, what that means is that your child's healthy, but, and I'm not wishing this on anybody's child, but say 30 years down the line, unfortunately, they get cancer. They can still increase their policy. They can increase their policy up to either 5 or 6 times. And that's based off of, say they originally got a $25,000 policy, they can increase it in $25,000 policies, no matter what their health, no matter where their health is. And that's huge. That's setting your child up to have this money available. And then you could do the IUL like I was talking about, and that's really setting them up. But we got to take care of our children now. And this is beyond getting them, like when my child was young, it was the Gerber. And then when they turned 18, it went up. No, that policy premium amount stays the same and they are guaranteed insured for the rest of their life.
wow. So that is really good information. How can folks find out more if they want you to help them with the plan? Like how can folks get Angela Roberts to help them with their life insurance questions?
So I am giving out my number. My number is available to everybody. Should I give it out now? Go ahead and
That's how you feel. Okay, that's what's up.
that's how I feel. I mean, I'm a businesswoman, so like, yeah, my
Absolutely.
phone
Yep.
rings off the hook anyway. So why not add to it? I can be reached at my personal number, which is 443-846-4286, and you can also email me, and that's at a roberts at FLL. I'm sorry, A Roberts at FFLALL.com. I had to think about that for a second. So again, that's A Roberts at FFLALL.com. Give me a call or shoot me an email. We can set up a time, sit down and talk. It takes me about 20 minutes, maybe 30, depending upon what your situation is, to be able to find a policy that suits your needs and your budget. Like, I want people to be able to afford this. I want you to be able to take care of this every month. And to give you a range, like if you spend $5 on a coffee every day, because coffees are what, $5 to $10. If you gave up that coffee, you could get a very good life insurance policy.
Again, what's your number again?
443-846-4286.
So they frequently will say for the price of a cup of coffee, but that's like a legit thing.
That is a legit thing. That is a very legit thing. Like, yeah. like I said, it depends on your age, it depends on your health, but you can get a policy under $100, and depending upon which one you go into and where you are at, you can. It's not, I don't want to say, I don't want to like make promises, but like the younger you are, you can get a $200,000-300,000 policy for $100. That's if you're young. If
Right.
you're older, you know what I mean, you can still get a decent policy for $100. You could get a decent policy for $50. Whatever your budget is, it's allow me to help you figure it out. And I mean, one yeah, like help me help you. One other thing, like I just want to, people don't realize, and this is not to be grim or sad or make people feel bad, but when you die, your children and your loved ones are left with liabilities, mortgages, car notes, other debts that they can't pay. And if they can't pay, that bank takes that away. If you have a house that has a significant amount of equity in it, that's all gone. All because you didn't take the time to prepare for something that's scary. It is a scary feeling. It's a scary feeling, but yet people ignore it like it's just going to go away, and it's going to happen. It's sad. Look at what we just had over the weekend in Baltimore. How many of those families prepared for that to happen? You don't prepare for violent and trauma to happen and death to happen like that. You think death happens in old age, but in this day and age, it does. It's a part of life, and we should prepare for it and make sure that you are in a situation where you don't have to worry about that. So you can stop thinking about it. Just think about it for like 20 to 30 minutes with me. You don't got to think about it anymore because you're going to be set.
Yeah,
It's that simple.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. And but like you said, most people are not, thinking that this is something that I'm going to have to deal with anytime soon.
Right.
But yeah, we had a very violent weekend in the Baltimore metro area. And
So sad.
yeah,
It
absolutely,
really is.
absolutely.
And families shouldn't have to be burdened with financial difficulties on top of losing people. You know what I
Right,
mean? Especially the
right,
violence. It's sad. And then the violence has to stop. But if the violence isn't going to stop, I say be prepared. Always be prepared. Be prepared for the worst case scenario, as sad as that may be.
yeah,
And
yeah, definitely.
I try to keep it light. I try to keep it happy. I try to make these hard conversations a little bit easier. And like I said, for people that missed in the beginning, like I'm going to be your agent from the beginning to end. I'm going to help you out. I'm dedicated to that. I'm not somebody that you're just going to talk to once. I'm somebody that's going to be in your life.
Right. Yeah, that's important. And you have the personality that makes conversations like this a little bit easier. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, well,
that's helpful as well. Um,
yeah.
yeah,
Death
yeah,
isn't final. I trust me. I smile and everything. Death hurts. I still miss my dad. It's not final. Energy doesn't die, but it's a part of life. It's a different relationship that you have with your loved ones that are no longer here, but they are always
right.
around us. I always tell people to look into nature, and you'll find your loved ones talking back to you. That's what gets me by.
Well, yeah, that's a great way to look at it. Thank you so much, Angela Roberts. And folks can contact you 443-846-4286, A Roberts at fflall.com. For those
Yes, and
that are listening.
also if this is something that you would want to do in your life, and you can do it part-time or full-time, you can call me about that too. We can talk about that opportunity as well. Like I'm available 7 days a week. You
Okay,
can always
all right.
contact me.
That's
All
what's up.
right.
And you
Thank
said that you are in multiple states. So wherever folks
multiple
are listening
wherever.
in the continental US, you can help them out.
Absolutely.
Very good. Very good. Thank you so much.
Diamond, thank you. I really appreciate you. It was great to see you and talk to you. It's
Yes,
been
yes.
years.
It has been a long time. It has been a long
So
time.
again, thank you for this opportunity, for having me on your platform, and keep on doing the things that you do. I'm super proud of everything that you've done.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Proud of you as well.
Oh, thanks.
All right. That was Angela Roberts talking about the very important topic of life insurance and making things easier for your loved ones in the event that you pass away.